I used to tell people my hair was low maintenance, when really I just hadn't looked in a mirror under good light in about 6 years. Nobody warns you that the haircut which worked at 45 can quietly start working against you by 55, and you won't even see it happening because you look at yourself every single day. Today I'm walking you through 5 hairstyles that read as outdated the second someone meets you in person, and exactly what to ask for instead so your stylist gets it right on the first try. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50 so you get real results, fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The flat, uniform bob. Here's the part nobody explains at the salon. Hair loses density evenly across the whole head as we age, which means a perfectly blunt, one-length bob. The exact cut that looked so sharp in your 40s now sits on your head like a heavy curtain with nowhere for light or movement to get in. It's not that the bob itself aged. It's that your hair changed shape and the cut didn't change with it. And if you've caught yourself lately tugging at the ends in the car mirror, wondering why it looks thinner than it did last year even though you haven't cut it, that's this. That's exactly this. The fix is a soft, layered bob with what stylists call internal layering. Length stays the same from the outside, but weight gets removed underneath so the ends can move instead of sitting flat. When you sit in the chair, say this exactly. I want to keep the length but add internal layers to create movement, not a shorter silhouette. That phrasing matters because add layers alone can get you choppy, aggressive layers that don't suit finer strands. Internal layering is the specific technical term that tells your stylist you want lift without losing length. What changes is immediate and visible. Light gets underneath the hair instead of bouncing off one flat plane, so the whole cut reads fuller even though actual density hasn't changed. People stop seeing thin hair and start seeing soft hair, which is a completely different impression carried by the exact same amount of hair on your head. I had a woman tell me she went in for this exact adjustment before a family wedding, and her own sister, who sees her constantly, asked who'd done her hair because it looked like it had twice as much of it. Same length, same color, just layered correctly for where her hair actually is now instead of where it was 15 years ago. The swap in one sentence. Trade the flat, one-length bob sitting heavy at the jaw for a softly internally layered bob with movement built underneath. Next up is a color mistake that's even sneakier than this one, because it's not about the cut at all. It's about a shade so many of us default to without ever questioning it. Part 2. Overprocessed, too dark color. Something happens to skin's undertone as we age that most of us never get told about. It cools and softens, which means a color that read as rich and warm at 40 can start looking harsh and almost artificial against the skin by the time we hit our 60s. It's not that dark hair ages a woman. It's that flat, uniform dark color with no dimension sits against softened skin and creates a stark line the eye reads as severe. If you've noticed your usual color looking a little more helmet than hair lately in photos, this is exactly why. The fix isn't going lighter across the board. It's adding dimensional lowlights and face-framing highlights that break up the solid block of color near your face specifically. Tell your colorist, I want dimensional highlights concentrated around my face, not all over, to soften the color against my skin tone. That's specific enough that you won't walk out with an overall lightening you didn't want. You're asking for strategic placement, which is a completely different service than a full head color change. The mechanism is simple. Dimension near the face reflects light back onto the skin instead of absorbing it the way flat, dark, matte color does. And that reflected light is what softens harsh shadows under the eyes and along the jaw. It's lighting, not magic. A woman once told me her granddaughter looked at an old photo from just 8 months prior and asked, wait, was that before or after? Because the shift from flat dark to dimensional was subtle enough not to scream new hair color, but strong enough that her face itself looked different in the photo. That's the entire goal. Nobody should be able to point at exactly what changed. They should just think you look well. The swap. Trade flat, uniform dark color with a hard edge near your face for soft, dimensional highlights placed strategically to lift and warm your skin. What's coming next might be the trickiest one on this list, because it disguises itself as practical, when it's actually doing the opposite of what you think. Part 3. The tight, overset curl pattern. Nobody tells you this, but the tightly set, uniform curl pattern so many of us were taught to get for special occasions was originally designed for hair with far more density than most of us carry by our 60s and 70s. Tight, uniform curls need volume underneath to look soft. Without it, they compress against the scalp and read as a rigid helmet shape rather than actual hair. If you've ever set your hair for an event and thought it looked done, in a way that wasn't quite flattering, this is very likely why. Not the curl itself, but how tightly and uniformly it was set against hair that's naturally softer now. The fix is a looser, more irregular wave pattern set with a larger tool, paired with a diffusing technique that lifts hair at the root before the curl even forms. At the salon or with your own styling routine, use this language. I want a loose, irregular wave, not a tight uniform curl. Set with a larger barrel and lifted at the root first. That root lift instruction is the part most women skip. And it's the part that actually does the work. Without lift at the root, any curl pattern collapses flat against the scalp within an hour no matter how large the tool is. Once that lift is in place, the curl itself can be soft and loose because it's not fighting gravity and flatness at the same time. The visible shift is volume that looks alive rather than sculpted. Hair that moves when you turn your head instead of staying frozen in one shape. I remember a woman writing in that she'd worn the same tight-set curl for every holiday photo for over a decade, switched to the loose wave with root lift for one Thanksgiving, and her own son asked if she'd done something different with her face. She hadn't touched her face at all. The volume and movement changed the entire proportion of how her features read in the frame. The swap. Trade the tight, uniform curl pattern compressed against the scalp for a loose, irregular wave with real lift at the root. Next up is the styling habit that's quietly aging more women over 50 than almost anything else on this entire list. And it has nothing to do with a haircut at all. Part 4. The over-teased lacquered crown. Here's something almost nobody explains about hairspray and teasing. As hair thins with age, teasing at the crown doesn't create the illusion of density the way it did on thicker strands decades ago. Instead, it creates visible gaps between the teased sections, because there's simply less hair per section to hide the spaces. Then a heavy layer of lacquer locks that gapped, stiff shape in place for the rest of the day. If you've noticed your volume routine looking more sparse under bright light than it does in the bathroom mirror at home, the teasing and heavy hold product combination is very likely the reason. The fix is switching from back combing to a root lifting mousse applied at the base while hair is damp, then blow drying with a round brush lifting straight up and away from the scalp. No teasing, no heavy lacquer, just directional airflow doing the volume work. Ask for or use this phrasing. I want root lift from a mousse and blow dry technique, not teasing, so the volume looks natural instead of set. This matters because mousse coats each strand evenly from root to tip rather than physically tangling sections together the way teasing does, so there are no gaps to catch the light and expose thinness. The visible difference shows up specifically at the crown under bright light. Instead of stiff peaks with visible scalp between them, you get an even, soft dome of lift that reads as genuinely fuller hair, not styled to look fuller hair. A viewer once messaged me after switching from teasing to the mousse and round brush method, saying her hairdresser of 9 years actually asked if she'd started a new hair growth treatment. Same hair, same amount of hair, just lifted evenly instead of gapped and lacquered stiff. The swap. Trade the over-teased, heavily lacquered crown with visible gaps for an evenly root-lifted crown built with mousse and directional blow-drying. What I'm about to show you last on this list might be the one you least expect, because it's the style so many of us were told was the safe, professional choice. Part 5. The severe, pulled-back chignon. This one surprises almost everyone. A severely pulled-back, tight low bun or chignon. The style so many of us were taught reads as polished and professional, actually pulls the skin at the temples and outer eyes tight in a way that emphasizes every line it's supposed to smooth over. It's the exact opposite of what most women expect from it. The tightness that looks sleek in a mirror close-up reads as severe and stretched the moment someone sees it from a natural distance. In natural light, mid-conversation. The fix is a softer, slightly undone low bun or twist with face-framing pieces left loose around the temples and jaw specifically. Say this to your stylist or use it as your own styling cue. Leave soft pieces loose around my face before pulling the rest back, and don't pull it tight at the temples. Those loose pieces do real mechanical work. They break the straight pulling line that runs from temple to bun, which is exactly what was creating that stretched look in the first place. Once that line is broken by even a few soft pieces, the whole style reads as relaxed and intentional instead of severe and dated. And your natural face shape gets to show instead of being pulled flat. One woman told me she'd worn the tight chignon to every formal event for 20 years because someone once called it elegant in her 30s, and she never questioned it again. The first time she wore the softened version with loose face-framing pieces, 3 separate people at the same dinner told her she looked rested. Nothing about her sleep had changed. Only the tension at her temples had. The swap. Trade the severe, tightly pulled back chignon for a softer, slightly undone low bun with loose face-framing pieces left around the temples. That's all 5. And if even one of these was sitting in your regular rotation, you're absolutely not alone, and now you know exactly what to say in the chair to fix it. You now know exactly why 5 of the most common safe hairstyles quietly work against mature faces, and more importantly, you have the exact words to hand your stylist so every single one gets fixed correctly on the first visit. That's not a small thing. That's walking into your next appointment with real control over the outcome instead of hoping for the best. Tell me in the comments which one of these 5 you just realized you've been wearing. I read every single one. Next week I'm covering the skincare habit that's undoing all of this good haircut work without you realizing it. So make sure you're subscribed for that. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.